Welcome to the Explosive Strength Podcast with Jared Minnie. Today's episode, we're going to go over questions that I've received through email, like I've done before, specifically more training questions that I choose to weight, the athletes don't choose to weight, and things of that nature, and how I kind of go over and do stuff. But first, there's a lot of people that contact me because I had this guy actually just yesterday contact me. He said, Jared, he has a Broward timing system, but he said, do I recommend a product that is there a product that I recommend that where he can do speed recording and things like that? And his name is Jeff, and Jeff thinks OVR Performance is coming out with a Tendo-like device that actually Michael came to the gym and we put 2 Tendo units on the bar and we put the OVR Performance speed reader on the bar. I don't know what it's called. It's like a Tendo. And so it was getting the exact same numbers as the Tendos were with that. So, and it was very consistent. They're also, OVR Performance is also coming out with a jumping system. It's very light. It's not a mat. It's more laser oriented. And the good thing about that is sometimes when you land on the mat, you step off, you step back on, you're like, what was my number? The thing has a way to go back and check to see what the number was if you accidentally messed it up or whatever. Another good thing about it is it's super strict. So like my athletes were not jumping as high on the OVR Performance jump thing as they were the jump mats. But if you're a coach or a gym owner or a trainer and you're training these athletes, it was very consistent. That's all I care about. As long as we have a consistent feedback device that's not up and down. So like this past week, I had these kids go to these combine and they were wearing this jump thing, vertical jump, vert tester or whatever. It's a thing that clips on their hip. I had a kid that jumps a regularly 35-inch vertical at the gym. He has jumped the highest 38, but he went to a showcase or whatever about a month ago, and he came back and jumped a 23-inch vertical. His starting vertical at the gym was 30 on the mat. And I said, there's no way you can jump a 23-inch vertical. And so some of the dads that come to the gym, I said, what clip is it? So they sent me, so I bought it. And I wanted to see, because when they're going to these camps, if they're having to use that clip, what's the difference? So I had to teach that kid how to jump with that clip, because he would jump and the mat would say something and then he'd be 10 inches off with the mat. And it's just because I has to do something where his hips bent or whatever. But that clip was so far off. I had another kid that has 36 to 38 inch vertical range, and he jumped a 23 or 24 with the clip. But then I started changing their jump technique up to where now they were getting within 3 inches of what the mat was saying. That's with the clip. And so like something with the mat or the OVR Performance thing that's on the ground, you're not going to have that variability like you would that clip. So I got that kid to actually jump. He actually jumped a 30-inch vertical with the clip at a showcase, which is better than 22 or 23 he did before. And I've had other kids at the gym almost match what they did with that clip, but some of them were way off. I had another kid that was almost 10 inches off, but I put the clip on their collar, and then it was reading almost exactly what the mat did. But when you're going to these camps, the things recommended that it goes on the hip. Well, you got 2 kids that are jumping 10 inches difference what the mat said, and you got a lot of other kids that are jumping within 3 inches of what the mat says. But, you know, if you're that kid with that variability of getting that big gap in there, it's not very cool for you, and it's going to really look bad on your numbers at your showcase. So anyway, I do not like the clip. I like the OVR Performance thing. If it's more strict, especially if you're a gym owner or a coach or whatever, my job's to give these athletes opportunities that I do not have and to make them look good outside the gym. Feel bad inside the gym, perform great outside the gym. And so with something like the laser system, when you jump, it's still on the ground, so you're not going to be able to use like that clip that can have that variability. It's going to be more like the mat, but the numbers are going to be more strict. So if you jump a 42-inch vertical at the gym, you may jump a 40-inch vertical or 39-inch vertical on the OVR Performance, but that don't matter. It matters that if I'm training this kid, if he goes from, on the OVR, if he goes from 30 to 35, it improved. If he goes from 30 to 35 on the mat, he improved. But if you have one that's a little bit more strict, and they go somewhere and they're having to jump on a mat, you're going to do good. If they go somewhere else and they have to jump on the vertex, you're going to do even better. The thing about the testing stuff with these measurables and the OVR performance is going to be much cheaper than the mat. It's going to be a lot more portable and a lot easier to transfer around. And you don't have to, like, I've got about 5 mats right now that the cords are broken there. I can't even use them. So you don't have no cords or anything like that where the kids land, jump, and beat the mat up with the dumbbells. You don't have that going on. But what I'm trying to say is if they're jumping 36 with the OVR at your place, 36, and they go somewhere and they're jumping to 39, they're going to be a lot more ecstatic and come back to the gym ready to work, because you got to, like, that's why I like the Brower timing system. OVR Performance is coming out with their own timing system. But the thing about the Brower timing system that I like is that if you go somewhere outside the gym, you will always run better, because that Brower timing system is super strict. Like if you got the OVR Performance and it's more strict than the jump map, and whatever they jump in the gym or whatever they jump at your training place, when they leave there, they'll always jump higher than what that thing reads. And that's what you want. You want the kids to feel good outside the gym. You don't want to tell the kid they're jumping a 36-inch vertical and they go to somewhere as a showcase and they jump a 30 or even a 29. That'd be horrible. So anyway, that's just my rant on some products that are coming out. So this guy said he has a Brower time assist, although he don't have a way to measure. Is there a product that I recommend? I use the Tendo unit. It's a lot more expensive than the OVR thing, but if you want to look for a more affordable device, check out OVR Performance. And he also asked if I had a video or something that I could purchase to understand how to program the box. Well, I do offer online training for people. I've had some of my online people they're very happy with it. They're very happy with the performance that they're getting. So that's an option too if you want to see how I program, or I could talk with you with that. But that programming thing is an option too. And so here's another email. This guy's name's Rob. Jared, I stumbled upon your content and I am incorporating things that I've learned from your training. I have a handful of questions and appreciate your willingness to respond. Okay, question number 1. I understand that you squat first, then dumbbell jump. Yes, we do. I am considering pairing the two in a contrast set for equipment and numbers. I feel it would be more efficient in use. Unfortunately, I'm one of those high school coaches who have a limited amount of time with my athletes, although I'm getting my off-season athletes to do better understanding necessarily work to rest ratios. What's your thoughts on contrast pairing? Well, Rob, yeah, especially if you're a high school coach. A lot of these high school coaches across the country, I've had a lot of them buy the jump book, and questions like this arise. If you don't have a lot of time, the way we jump with the dumbbells is a specific load, and we alter dumbbells over time in order to produce results. So if you're limited on time, the best thing to do is to do, I have it right here. So we'll box squat as an A1, then as A2, we'll do dumbbell jumps. So on this folder right here, it says this kid, he's on squat. So he'll do the dumbbell jump says 2 each squat set. So we'll do the box squat, and then we'll do 2 dumbbell jumps in between each squat set. Then we'll rest 4 minutes, then go back to our squat, come over, do a jump, maybe rest a minute, do a jump, rest a minute, rest 4 minutes, then go back. It still kind of opens that time up, but you're not over there trying to rush the jumps. It gives them time to rest between the jumps and squatting instead of just getting all the squats done, then going over there and trying to do the jumps. If you're just jumping alone at that point, especially in your high school, you're going to feel, excuse me, you're going to feel more rushed, and you probably won't get as good of a results as you can, but the residual effect of doing it is better than absolutely doing nothing. So do I like the contrast training? Yes, I have it. So a lot of my kids like the traditional way at the gym, but I leave it opened up more to the kids than my necessarily thought at the gym. I've got some kids that will come in, they'll do their squat traditional, then they'll go do their dumbbell jumps like they've always done it. But I also have kids that will do just like the folder says. Now, sometimes you can come to the gym and pick up these folders and read all these workouts and stuff that I've got written on them. But sometimes we don't do what's on that sticker. It just depends on what's going on that day. So although it says box squat A1 and dumbbell jump 2 each squat set, they may not dumbbell jump 2 each squat set. They may wait till they're done, but you also have a group of kids that actually may go over there and do the dumbbell jumps in between the squat sets. And so if you're dumbbell jumping in between the squat sets, the heavier squat, the dumbbell jump then becomes the lighter jump instead of jumping with and without weight after you're done squatting. So they won't, it's best if they don't jump without weight. It's just best if they squat, beat their dumbbell jump number, and move on to the next thing. So, okay, question number 2. Your training seems to emphasize anterior upper body work. Do you feel it's important to balance anterior work with a certain amount of type of posterior exercises? Could you give me some insight on your posterior training? I know you have commented on how over-strengthening the shoulder can be detrimental to the bench press technique. Yeah, for years, we didn't really do anything for the upper back or lats. We do lat pull downs, pull ups, chin ups, and stuff like that. But I also have this as an option for my people. We'll bench, and then we'll do seated rows in between our bench. More of a structural balance thing. And so we may go from there to incline and do lat pull downs as a pair, and we would do push-ups and press downs, or push-ups and curls and things of that nature. So we do it. It's not a lot. So I added the seated rows in just to help with the structural stability of the shoulder blade so that we're not pulling rib heads out all the time. But it's not something that's necessary. If you don't want to, you don't have to. I mean, for years, and I just started doing seated rows between bench the last year and a half. But before that, I've always had kids bench 4 or 5, so it's not really it don't really hinder, and I've not had those kids hurt either. So some kids like it, some kids don't. If the kids don't like it, they don't want to do it, they just don't do it. I don't really care, because as long as their bench is moving in the right direction, it don't matter. If people have heard me talk about minimum effective dosage, do the minimum amount of things. Well, I've screwed myself on that, because I heard Josh Bryant and Dave Tate talk about it, and I've done the minimum effective dosage for myself for last 5 to 7 years, to where I've done it with bench and just tricep press. I'm just, people, if you've been listening to me for a while, for myself, I took my incline from a 365 to a 405 incline with just doing incline and tricep press downs. I've been benching over 400 pounds for the last 12 years. No, longer than that, maybe 14 years, with just doing the minimum things. But what happens if you do the minimum for too long? And I'm talking years, 5, 6, 7 years, whatever it is I've done the minimal effective dosage for. I was able to drive all that stuff up, but now what's leaking and showing up is I'm getting injured in different areas because I've not worked those different areas for a number of years. Now, these kids, like I told a kid the other day, come squat, jump, and leave, and they feel like they're having to do all this other stuff. Sometimes you don't. And it's, especially if it's only 1 or 2 times a month that you're skipping all the other stuff, you're fine. It's not like me, where I would squat. I did my squat and dumbbell jumps for years, and that's all I did. My vertical went up, 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 squat went up, up, up. But then I started developing more IT band issues, and so then that kind of screwed me up. I had some adductor strains because I wasn't doing single leg work. So it's good to do other things besides just the 2 main things, like your bench and your press downs, or your squats and your dumbbell jumps. All the other stuff helps with structural integrity, so we can just drive up the strength without having to worry about injuries later on down the road. So, but if they got weight training at school, I got to go over that question as well later on. If they have weight training at school and they're coming to you for a gym, you don't have to overkill them. You don't have to try to give them a great workout. You give them dumbbell jumps and squats. Then if they want to do something, some cable abs, or they want to do something for that, let them do that. They've already got their accessory stuff more likely at school. So that's just something you don't even have to worry about. Just talk to them, try to teach them. All right, question number 3. Is a tread sled like a sled pull? Would pulling sleds in addition to squatting and weighted jumping be a potential benefit in acceleration qualities? Our tread sled is a 1,000-pound treadmill with a 4-foot wide, non-motorized belt. Years ago, while I was reading my exercise physiology book, a 15-second all-out sprint alters muscle fiber. So they actually saw an increase in fast twitch and a decrease in slow twitch percentage fibers. And so if you ever heard me on the other podcast where I get off on these rants, squatting builds fast twitch fibers. Dynamic effort work, rate of force development training sharpens the rate at which those fibers are fired or used or utilized, or however you want to say it. Squatting gives you more fibers. The dynamic work teaches those fibers how to operate. Basically, as simple as I can get. So by having an increase in fast twitch fibers and a decrease in slow twitch percentage fibers, their sprint speeds were improving, which was not seen in just gravitational exercise, which weights and squatting and jumping is gravitational. When you're doing a tread sled or sprinting or you're dragging a sled, that is some type of inertial work. So it's a 15-second all-out sprint, has an increase in fast twitch fibers and a decrease in slow twitch percentage fibers. I can't remember. I don't even think I have the book with me. If I did, I'd pull it out and tell you the exact percentage increase and decrease. But whatever, if people want it, they'll call me or message me or text message me or whatever. So if it's with pulling sleds, people say pulling sleds. We don't pull sleds a lot. We'll walk backwards with sleds to warm up our knees for squat, or sometimes if kids got issues, we may do sled drags backwards. You could possibly sprint with sleds, but if the exercise physiology where you got a direct correlation between what the research says and what actually I've seen at the gym, the best thing to do, if you could figure out a way for having someone sprint 15 seconds all out, do that. But the thing I like about the tread sled, it's a 1,000-pound treadmill with a non-motorized belt on it, but it has a computer system in it to where it's got a beep, beep. That means they get ready. Beep. They take off sprinting, and it's got a timer on it to where at the end of 15 seconds, it quits counting those yards. So it's got a beep to beep, and you're trying to get that belt to spin as fast as you can. But as soon as you stop, the belt stops. So, but you're trying to get that belt to spin as fast as it can for 15 seconds. And that 16 seconds, if you keep running, it does not keep counting. It stops whatever that is at that specific 15-second point. That's why I like the tread sled. Now, they have a tread sled that you can, I've seen some people, tread sled actually makes tread sled. My tread sled is a Rogers Athletic tread sled, but there's tread sled, I don't know, I can't think, I don't even want to pull up on the internet. But there are other things you can push against the resistance. The reason I like tread sleds is because you got this belt that goes around your waist and you face, and you just, it's just like having a belt and someone holding you back and you're just sprinting your ass off and trying to get a number at the end of the sprint and see what it is. So next time you come in, if I ran a 58.4, next time I'm going to try to get me a 59 on the tread sled. It's a resisted yard, so you're going 15 seconds, but the gym record is 74, but most of the kids are running between 57 and 63. But it just, again, it's like the OVR performance, just like the jump mat, just like the Tendo. It gives you a feedback at that moment to where next time I come in and train, if I write my tread sled time down, I've got something to beat. This kid was doing, this kid ran a 61.74 on the tread sled, and then he did not write it down again. Most people do the tread sled, and they'll do one 15-second all-out sprint, and then they want to die because it's pretty bad. So it's really taxing. It has something to do, it drops the blood sugar and everything else. If they run two, they're on the ground for at least 30 minutes. If they've never ran it and they're on the ground for 30 minutes, and so it's kind of horrible. During COVID, we've had some kids do it 3 and they were on the ground for 45 minutes. Didn't want to move or nothing, puking, throwing up. So that's not always great. It's hard, but I found that if we ran 3 tread sleds, the 40-yard times actually got worse. I think it comes with that endurance training too much. Like if you got these kids I talk about all the time, they go to track and track season, their 40-yard dash times it's worse than track, but they got better at the 100, 200. So track coach don't know he's wrong. He's wrong at the 40-yard dash, but he's right at the 100. So it depends on if your athlete's going to leave and go to school to be a football player, skip track season because this 40-yard dash time is going to suck. So, okay. Question number 4. For younger athletes, junior high school upper, do you feel box squats are appropriate, or do they need to first develop some hypertrophy in the muscles? Junior high and younger. Rob, sometimes my kids will rotate. If they're like a 7th grader or younger, I'm more likely regular squat them to build some type of structure. I always call the regular squats a structure squat, and a box squat where you can increase your rate of force development and absolute strength at the same time. For the younger kids, if they've never squatted, never box squatted, I think it's more, and if they've never squatted, I think it's important that they learn how to squat, because what you'll see is if they've never squatted at all, regular squat or box squat, and you teach them to box squat first, they end up just plopping down on a box. They have no eccentric control. So I'll get their squat to a point to where I like their squat, or if I got to prove to the parent that I can get them faster, I may regular squat them for a while, then I'll box squat them to get some improvements in their 40-yard dash time. Then I'll go back and regular squat them. And sometimes I rotate it. Sometimes I may go to, I got kids right now that's been regular squatting for 2 months. Jared, I hate this. Can I do this? They like to box squat because they can squat more weight, but squatting more weight, if it's not making the 40-yard dash time, there's no point in doing it. So the only reason we box squat is because it has a direct improvement on our 40-yard dash time. When I take the box squat away from the athletes, their 40-yard dash does not move. And sometimes it actually goes backwards. So if they ran a 5 flat this month, I take the box away. Next month, they may run a 5-1. Get the box back, 5 flat, keep the box 4-9. So usually I can average a tenth of a second off the athlete per month. But with the box squat, with a regular squat, I usually don't get those gains. Now, if you got a super weak kid that's super young, you could talk like my 10-year-olds, they're regular squatting and they can improve their sprint regular squatting. But as they get older, they need that rate of, the box squat increases rate of force development and absolute strength at the same time. So once they get to a certain strength level, and if they're not, their 40-yard dash is not changing, then box squat them. But try to get what you can, regular squat, and go from there and see what happens. So, Rob, hope I covered all those questions. I know I was just wanting to do a 20-minute podcast, but who knows how long this is going to last, because there's quite a few questions in here. And for those of you that's listening, you know I get on these little rants and things. My email has been down. I can receive the email, but I cannot send or reply. So, Marshall, he said, Coach Benny, my name is Marshall. Marshall, I'm not going to butcher your last name. I just received your jump book in the mail. Just read it and wanted to verify something. So, Marshall, reach out to me, send me your number, and I'll give you a call and talk to you since you jumped. If anybody's bought the jump book and they listen to these podcasts, feel free to call me and I'll tell you different ways that over time that I've learned how to do this. With all these questions, like with Marshall's questions, I am going to do a second edition of the jump book. I'm going to add a few chapters in it. I'm going to talk about brief maximal tension and a little bit, but I'm still not going to give how I program people's benches and how I program people's squats. That's the gym, you know. So if you want to know that, I have online training. I probably have one spot left right now, but some spots do open up here and there. It's for me to write your program 6 days a week, 4 days a week, whatever you want. I am trying to, I've got a kid right now that was doing 6 days a week, but now he's in lacrosse season. Now he's got to do 3 days a week, and it's 3 combo days, which sucks. But, you know, sometimes he may just go in and bench, squat, and jump and be done. You know, that's better than doing nothing. Something's better than nothing. And so, Marshall, podcast, you guys complete your box squat work for the day. And then separately, after the box squat work, you do your dumbbell jumps for the day. Is that accurate? Yeah, after we box squat. Now, you're like years ago when I had 2012, 10, 12, 13, up to 2014, maybe even, no, I was still training Alaskan 16, 15, 16. We would always come in, we would jump first. In school and crap like that, they understanding program and how to write training program, you always do your dynamic explosive stuff first. Then you do your structural strength stuff, your main strength stuff second. Then you do your accessories and all that stuff. But the gyms gets so busy at times that I cannot have a kid, because our dumbbell jumps are not 5 sets of 3 or 6 sets of 2 or any type of set reps. You're supposed to go over there and you're supposed to jump until you break your record. Then once you break your record, you move on. So sometimes for these people that, like I said earlier in this podcast, where you got box squat, then they do 2 dumbbell jumps in between their squat. If they didn't break their dumbbell jumps within those, usually we got 4 sets of squats, so that's 8 jumps. If within those 8 jumps, if they don't break that record from the dumbbell jump before, after they're done squatting sets, stay over there at the dumbbell jump area and jump a few more times trying to break that record, because as that jump improves, so will you're running in 40-yard dash times. So you got some kids that like to skip the stupid dumbbell jumps a lot. We had some parents this past week, I showed that their kids weren't even recording the dumbbell jumps. Why are they not? They were asking the kid, why are you not following the program? Someone said we didn't have to do that. Bullshit. Look at on this. On every sticker, it says anytime it says squat, we're jumping. We're jumping and we're squatting in the same damn day. Now, whether we're getting all squats, then all jumps, or all jumps and all squats, that's really up to the kid. I don't care. All I care about is look at that number, break what you did last time, and move on. So, Marshall, I hope that answered your question. We don't do dumbbell jumps one day, squat the next squat or lower body day. It's always jump, squat the same day, and get some of these accessories on here done. Okay. All right. Peter. Hello, I'm a high school weightlifting coach in Florida. We compete in the snatch, clean and jerk, and bench. I've listened to many of your podcasts and seen the success of your strength athletes. I have several questions about how you implement brief maximal tension with your athletes. In several episodes, you have mentioned 90%, 95%, 100% of a 3 to 5 rep max. But in other episodes, you talk about athletes less than all the reps at a given weight. Okay, so let's get these questions. How often are you having athletes work up to a 3 or 5 rep max? We don't work up to a 3 or 5 rep max. We just do heavy sets of 3, heavy sets of 4, or heavy sets of 5. So we're not going to do like 225 for 5, 245 for 5, 265 for 5, and maybe try 285 for 5. If I want them, we're resting at the gym anywhere between, some kids are 4 to 6, maybe 7 minutes. I let them rest what they want to. I know if they're resting less than 4 minutes, they're not going to get their stuff. But if I got them doing 280, 4 sets of 5, and let's see, I got a kid right here. This kid did 335, 4 sets of 4. And I know people hear me talk about the 0.6 meters and all that stuff for a second. This kid had 335, 4 sets of 4. First set, he got a first rep 5.5, second rep 5.1, third rep 5.0, last rep 4.9. Okay. Second set, he got a 5.4, a 5.3, a 4.6, then a 3.7. The third set, he got a 5.5, tied his first set, he broke his second set. So his first set, 5.5 fastest speed, second set, 5.4, then third set, 5.5. Then a 5.4, then a 5.3, then a 3.7. So his last 2 sets, he ended the last rep at a 0.37. And now I had someone the other day, I program the weight and try to manipulate the numbers, and based off what their speed and squat numbers are is how I can see what's going on. But for those who don't have a Tendo unit, if you're at the gym or if you're online, I'm trying to get you stronger so that we can then worry about the speed later. So sometimes like those kids with a regular squat, if you're not strong, there's no point in working on speed stuff. You know, you can do your dumbbell jumps, but it's not really important that they work. I've got 7 Tendos, and they're all 7 not used all the time. If you see my people with the safety squat bars, those people are a little bit more advanced, and they're the ones always squatting with that Tendo unit. But I have 5 others that just kind of float around the 7 other squat racks that I've got. So I've got 9 squat stations at the gym, and sometimes it's so full that people have to wait. And that's kind of why I did not do the dumbbell jumps at first. We did the dumbbell jumps at first. Now we come in, we squat and we dumbbell jump at the same time, or we squat and then they jump after, because my groups always start at the top of the hour. I got a group that starts 4, 5, 6, and 7. But I'm trying to get the kids to beat their numbers. If they get there at 4, some of these kids are not leaving to 6:30, but I need them out of rack before 5, so that 5 o'clock group get rolling and we can just have chaos all over the floor. That's fine with me. Okay. Is there a structure that you follow with athletes when you first start working with them before you start individualizing them? No, I start individualizing them day one, everybody, because at the end of every month, I'm testing everybody. And so I am trying I don't have employees. I do have a girl, Emily, that helps me. But besides that, I don't have any other trainer. So Emily will get the young kids, young girls or whatever, and helps me kind of develop them to where then they're handed off to me. But for the most part, I'm not blowing a whistle. I don't have them hurdled in or whatever. It's kind of like everybody's got the folder. They take off and they go do whatever in the gym, wherever they need to go. And I just kind of hang around, watch, ask questions, lean on boxes, lean on this, sit over here, sit over there. And I should be more of a strength consultant and trying to help these kids understand, and not more of a drill sergeant letting them do whatever they want. I mean, not. Michael said the kids are driving the atmosphere, not me. So they're the loud ones. I'm the quiet ones. Most of the time at a college, you got the strength coach being the loud one, blowing the whistle. Everybody, like almost like a drill sergeant, you would say. So I'm the opposite. I'm kind of laid back, watch people work, let them answer questions, because they see all the other kids putting in the work. They see these kids squatting 500. They see these kids benching 400. So the kids benching 185, 200, they know now it's possible to reach those loads if they work, because those kids that are doing 400 and 500, they're letting those other kids know. And they're also working in with those kids that are that strong. So it's a hell of an environment. It's taken years to build and be that way. And so I'm just kind of the guy that sits over off to the side and watches them, asks questions. If someone's got something that goes wrong, I fix it. Or if I see that they had a rough day at school, I may sit there and adjust that. Does an athlete being an intensity responder versus a volume responder affect their programming? Yeah. So like this kid right here, he's doing 4 3s, 3 3, 4 3, 4 sets of 3, 4 sets of 4, 4 sets of 5. This kid's going to be an intensity responder. So if you're a volume responder, you're going to have 6 to 9 reps, somewhere in that range, 5 to 9. So it does, but it does not affect it affects how many squats and how many bench reps they do and how many sets, but it does not change the overall exercise selection after that point. So Peter, I've got your number. I'll give you a call if I didn't answer all these questions or if you want to reach out to me. Okay. This kid, I don't know if it's a kid or a guy. It don't matter. Jared, my name is Tyler Koch, Koch. He works in a human performance coach within the fighter pilot community. So Tyler, hopefully I did not butcher your last name too bad, but you did not leave a number. You've got a long question. But yes, I'd be interested in having a conversation with you. If you want to talk about this stuff on a podcast like you're asking here, send me an email again. I don't know if you're going to listen to this podcast, but send me an email again with your number so that I can contact you, because like I said earlier, I cannot respond to emails for whatever reason. So let's go down here to this other guy. Good afternoon. My name is Rich. I'm a football coach in Maryland with one of the top 25 programs in the country. I've been watching all your videos and love all the content. We use box squats, specifically the new Elite Fitness all-in-one box squats, which rotates 14, 16, and 18 inches. When you do your box squats, can you just use high bar squats? If you don't have the Satan squat bar, what pad would you recommend for the type of boxes we use? Rich, you left me your number. I'll give you a call as well so we can go over this more than what this podcast will probably cover. My boxes at the gym are all taped. I have the Elite Fitness metal boxes. They're all taped at 12 inches. So they can't pull out the little pins and adjust the height. So I put Gorilla Tape on to make sure they don't pull those damn pins out, or make sure the pins don't even fall out as they move the boxes around. And we use the Elite Fitness Blue Foam pad. The only thing about the new Elite Fitness Blue Foam pad is if someone squats 0.6 meters at the gym and I give them the new pad, that's 0.6 then turns to a 0.7. So it's messing up our speed numbers a little bit. Now, the box that you said, the black one that rotates 14, 16, 18 inches, it's a little stiffer, so you're not going to have that sinking effect as we do with our foam boxes. Sometimes with older pads, you can almost feel your butt touching the box as you sit down. So you probably have about 4 inches of give with my boxes versus a new one. You probably only have about maybe 3 inches of give, maybe an inch different, maybe an inch and a half. So maybe 2 to 3 inches of give. But my boxes just could be that old to where the new ones are like the old ones. It's just that they're so new that I don't know, but I still think they changed the foam because this is the third generation. The second and first generation were bought 8 years apart, I believe. And those second generations were almost too soft, but you still got the same speed readings as you did with the first generation. But now they're a little bit stiffer. They've changed the way they are. I don't like it. So Nate Harvey, Dave Tate, listen, we need to get some universal box so that everybody out here can be more universal sound instead of changing up. Like my racks, my squat racks, I've got 7 of them, they changed the band pegs and everything else over time. It's like, find something, stick with it. Like I told someone today, the old stuff's good, but you got so many people out there that want some fancy BS to try to make everything look good. I don't care if it looks good. I just care if it's functional. There are people out there like that care about functionality and not necessarily how pretty something is. And so leave an old selection option. And then if you want to add new on top of that, do that. But I know like with people like Louis used to get his stuff made with Legend, but Legend changed stuff over time. And so I don't know if I was Louis and I had to deal with Legend and they changed the shit, I don't know what the options are out there, so I'm not going to go down that path. So, Rich, getting off on these little tangents. If you don't have safety squat bars, just squat with straight bar. And I would try to squat at 14 inches. You'll be fine. But years ago, I'm scared to go any higher than 12, especially if I have athletes that are like 6'2" or less. I always stick to those at a 12-inch box. If they're 6'3", 6'4", I got a kid that's 6'8". He still squats with a 12-inch box, blue foam pad, but I also have an Elite Fitness red pad that is 2 inches. So he's actually squatting on a 14-inch box plus the blue foam pad. But with that 14-inch box like you have, that's probably what we're sinking down to with the pad on it. So like we got that 12-inch pad, 6-inch pad, but we're probably squeezing about 4 inches out of it, like I said a while ago. And so if you're squeezing 4 inches out of it, you're at that 14-inch mark. So that's what I would probably use for those height athletes. I'd probably use the 14-inch side. So anyway, hope that helps. Okay. Well, that's all the questions I've gotten through the email. I know that's pretty lengthy. But this kid also messaged me, like I get on all the number one wide receiver in the country in 2020 ran a 4.63 40-yard dash while I was in high school. Then after 4 years in a Power 5 strength conditioning program, he ran a 4.77. I tell people this all the time. I've had people go to Clemson. I've had people go to Georgia. I've had people LSU. I've had people at Ole Miss. I've had people at Ivy League schools. I've got people at South Carolina. I've got a lot of kids that have been in the SEC. And I've had kids go to Notre Dame. I've had kids go to Penn State. I've had kids go to a lot of Power 5 schools. None of them have ever come back stronger or faster. They come back feeling better. They come back, hey, Jared, I feel like I can move. Well, you time their 40. Instead of running a 4.8, they're running a 5 flat. Well, I feel better. I don't give a shit how you feel. I care about your numbers, because if you ever get a chance to have a pro day and you run that 5 flat versus that 4.8, your feelings really ain't going to matter then, are they? Your numbers are what's going to matter. So it gets on my nerves. And a lot of things I think that's going to start happening, because a lot of things are starting to become more velocity speed based. And with these different kids and these universities starting to monitor their velocities, if I don't know where this bull crap's coming from, bullshit, whatever you want to say, if anybody wants to reach out to me to figure out where they're getting these things from, they're inputting into a system. And if that kid does not hit a certain speed, they tell them to take off weight or something's got to change. That's BS, because I told Louis this before I went to saw Louis. I'm going to do a podcast later on my last visit to West Side. Louis was saying 0.8. I said, no, we squat at 0.6 or slower. And he said 0.8. I said, if you move something at 0.8 meters per second, the bar moves too fast to create tension. If you're not creating tension within a tissue, especially if you're doing strength speed stuff. So like lifting weights in order to develop more fast twitch fibers in order to get stronger, that is going to be strength speed stuff. Strength stuff are dumbbell jumps or just jumps in general. So you got two ends of the different spectrum of the strength spectrum. So if these kids are moving the bars at 0.7 meters to 0.8 meters per second, and if they're not failing to hit those speeds that they tell them to stop the set immediately or change weight or go down or whatever it's doing, I'll look into it a little bit more. But that's BS, because you cannot get strong with moving the bar that fast. It's probably just, you better get your ass strong before you get to college, because once you get to college, I had a kid who went to college benching 425 and went to a Power 5 school. A Power 5 school that won a national championship, comes out, and he actually worked with a strength coach that's supposed to be famous. He came out of that college with a 345 bench. I said, holy balls. I said, oh, well, Jared's right. Because I don't know what the hell they're doing. And then working on those catapult things where they're worried about top end velocity, max velocity running. That's BS. The closer an athlete is to the ball, the more power they need. So if you're worried about max velocity and you can't even get your ass off the line, I don't know what the hell max velocity is going to do for you. So, but like this kid over here, he squatted a 4.6, a 3.8, then a 3.3, a 4.6, a 4.3, then a 3.3. And so it's kind of like you'll see these kids. We'll start off at, does he have a set over here with a 6, 6.3, 6.5? I don't know what the hell he did. He must have flipped the bar. So if you ever see me do a podcast on cheating the bar, there's no way to go from a 6.3 to 6.5 unless you did something with the bar. 6.3, 6.5, 5.9, 6.1. He goes, this shit isn't correlating, Jared. WTF. That's probably because he's messing up the bar. But anyway, so hopefully I covered that earlier, is we're not always, 0.6 is our max at that weight, and we're using that for our ratio to see what the limiting factor for our 40-yard dash time is. This kid, 5'4", 4'0", 3'9", 4'5", 3'7", 3'2", 4'5", 3'6", 3'6". And so you're seeing right now, I'm just reading it, 4'7", 4'0", 4'0", 4'9", 4'9", 3'7", 4'2", 3'9", 3'5". Those are some legit numbers we get at it. So he was moving 350 at a 4.2 max on 322. And on 329, he was able to move 350 at a 4.6. So went from a 0.42 to a 0.46 within almost a week. So I'm using those 0.4s and 0.3s to make those other numbers higher, because if I just worked on 0.7s all the time and I actually put some stress to an athlete, they would fail. They wouldn't become explosive. And so you get them strong, then work on their speed. So hopefully I did not rant too much on that, but someone reached out to me to figure out why in the hell these people, where are they getting this program from? Because that's, I guess they're trying to make strength coaches to where they're not idiots, because they're not even having to do anything. The computer's doing it for them. But they're teaching this strength and conditioning stuff is going to get a lot worse. These kids are going to be a lot damn weaker later on, especially after they leave my facility and they go to someone that's going to limit them at 7 meters per second. Oh boy. And just like that wide receiver in the country in 2020, they ran a 4.63. They're not getting better. There's got to be something done with these schools to where these strength conditioning coaches, I don't know. I don't know about you. You don't know about me, but someone's right and someone's wrong, if you know what I'm saying. So anyway, I've been posting a little bit more on Twitter. I post on Instagram. I'm going to try to do that. I'm going to upload these videos to YouTube. So follow me. If you got questions, feel free to reach out, email me. Email me right now with your freaking phone number, because right now I can't respond to anybody through email. So I've been sending all my people online stuff, screenshots of the workout for the week, but they'll send me stuff and respond on the way back. So anyway, glad I got to get up here and do this. I'll try to stay consistent. I'm a freaking pretty busy person. So anyway, thank you for watching. Thank you for listening. Have a great day.